country, and many American lives have been lost. So now the president has empowered federal law enforcement to actually do the jobs they signed up to do, to remove these public safety threats from our communities. And it is shameful that you have elected leaders who are elected to protect their American citizen constituents who are aiding and abetting this violence against federal law enforcement. You look at Los Angeles and the raid that ICE just conducted on a marijuana facility. 300 illegal criminals were pulled out of that facility, some of them unaccompanied minors. By the way, the Biden administration lost thousands of children that this administration is focused on finding with law enforcement operations like these. And there was also child predators and convicted murderers who were picked up in that operation as well. God bless the men and women of ICE. They are heroes, and they are great men and women who put on that uniform every day and deserve to go home safely to their families at night. And the Democrats who are allowing this violence to take place against them should be ashamed of themselves. And I know that the American people will firmly reject that position in the next election, just like they did in the previous election on November 5th, when they re-elected President Trump and the Trump administration to seal our border and deport illegal criminals from our homeland.
You saw the reaction the president got at MetLife Stadium. Not exactly a red state, to say the least, this weekend. Caroline Levitt, thank you. The Hannity White House briefing. We appreciate your time. Now, to a developing story tonight out of Europe. Today, President Trump negotiated a deal selling American-made weapons, selling, keyword, to NATO, paid for by Europe, the third continent. That would be used by Ukraine to defend themselves as per their decision. As part of the president's pressure campaign to bring Vladimir Putin back to the negotiating table and to agree to a ceasefire and end this war once and for all. Joining us now with more, Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, both you and you have 85 co-sponsors to a bill that will put massive sanctions on Vladimir Putin. I think this couple, by the way, I love the idea the president is not giving the weapons away. We can't afford to give them away. It's your job. They've got to step up and protect their own continent. But we are giving them the assistance after President Trump pretty much gave Putin every opportunity in the world to put peace, and he's chosen to reject it.
Well, you went through a list of accomplishments of the president in 6 months, and they're very, very impressive. But the best is yet to come. This war between Russia and Ukraine has been raging for 3.5 years. It started on Biden's watch. I believe they would never invaded Ukraine if Trump were president. Remember how he felt when we were through from Afghanistan, people chasing that plane down the runway, and the chaos and the shameful feeling we had? Well, President Trump has restored America. He bombed those facilities in Iran. He gave them 60 days, and Iran played a game for Trump, and he bombed them on 61. He has been trying to get Putin to the table. He believes Putin is playing him, and he changed the game today. What did President Trump do today? He's selling weapons to NATO to benefit Ukraine. It is good for the American economy. These factories that exist in America that make weapons, they will be selling those weapons to NATO. Europe will be paying for it, and Ukraine will benefit. But he also told Putin, I'll give you 50 days to end this war. And if you haven't come to the peace table to end the war by 50 days, I'm going to put 100% tariff on all the countries that buy your oil and gas and defund your war machine. So China, Brazil, and India, you better listen to what Trump said today. If you keep buying cheap Russian oil and gas to fund Putin's war machine, President Trump is going to put 100% tariff on all of your products coming in the United States if you don't change your behavior. And I'm going to make a prediction, they will. They're going to go to Putin and say, enough, get to the table.
What bothers me is, remember when Angela Merkel was Chancellor of Germany and Trump gave her the white flag, and she said, well, what's this? You surrender. And she just had a multi-billion-dollar deal for Russian energy, and the president was right. Western Europe is just as guilty buying that cheap energy from Putin, funding that war machine, even as the buildup of troops and weaponry along the Ukrainian border was taking place. What did they think he was going to do? So in many ways, They're as responsible. I think it's an underreported story as well that the president got all of these NATO nations now to more than double their contribution because they've not been paying their fair share. That was a huge accomplishment. If they really care about peace on their continent, they've got to be committed to it. They got to put their money where their mouth is. What I like about this deal is they're buying the weapons, they're making the decision. This is their continent. We're offering to sell it to them. That's good for our economy in one sense. However, it's better that we have peace in Europe altogether and that this insane amount of debt ends.
Yeah, well, war is bad for business. Putin is trying to take over Ukraine by force of arms. The Ukraine gave up 700 nuclear weapons they in the mid-90s, being promised that their country would never be invaded. Putin broke that promise. Well, Trump is going to end this war. We haven't had one American soldier die. President Trump is a man of peace, but he's not a man to be trifled with. So NATO is going to double the amount they spend on our common defense. Ronald Reagan tried to do that and couldn't. Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime to get the Europeans to do their share. They've reduced their dependency on Russian oil and gas by 70% in Europe. How does Russia stay in business? China, India, and Brazil buy most of their oil and gas now. Russia is weaning themselves off. So President Trump announced today, if you're buying Russian oil and gas to keep Putin's war machine running, we're going to put a 100% tariff on all your products coming into America in 50 days. And you know what? It will change this war. It will bring this war to an end. Donald Trump has done something no other American president has been able to do in my lifetime, get Europe to up their game when it comes to our common defense.
Right, I mean, they're on the back of the spine, and they're all going to talk about it. He's giving them a spine, and he's giving them an opportunity to bring peace into their continent. They need to step up, they need to do their part. It seems the only language either the mullahs in Iran or Putin understand is strength, and they're about to be hit hard financially. That strength. Lindsey Graham, thank you. And coming up, we have damning details from President Biden and his auto pen and the scandal. We're in hot water tonight. We have a bombshell new report. Also, an investigation into the deep state. We'll be checking in. The FBI allegedly opened a grand conspiracy probe. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, JustTheNews.com founder John Simon. They have the details on that. This is 10 years of deep state intrusion into our elections and other aspects all involving Donald Trump. That investigation is next.
Donate your card to today's veterans and help support our powers. The process is quick and simple, and the proceeds from your generous card donation will go to support the good work that T2T is doing throughout our community. Any cards accepted, running them online, and we will pick it up for free. Your card donation will help our powers to help our dedicated veterans and their families. So call 888-980-VETS. You can donate your card online at todaysveterans.org.
When you pick for a prescription at the pharmacy, you don't know what it's going to cost. That's why I always recommend you check SingleCare before you get to the counter.
Before I pick up my prescription, I always check SingleCare.
It's quick, easy, and totally free to use.
It helps me get a better price on my meds. At pharmacies nationwide, SingleCare is saving millions of Americans money on their prescriptions each day.
I found a cheaper price with SingleCare.
Yes, you did. See? Give it a try. Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app and start saving today.
Wish you could apply for a credit card that won't ding your credit if you're declined? With your big financial friend, you can. With Experience No Ding Decline. Get the Experian app now.
Life insurance is too important to put off another day. That's why Select Quote makes getting coverage you need easy. Now get up to a $2 million policy with no medical exam and same-day coverage.
Renee, she would be the perfect legal guardian.
I guess we found a lawyer now.
We can just make our will and trust to read those.
How do you know it's legit?
The documents are vetted by attorneys. A will is just $149.
Let's do it.
Create your will today at ethos.com.
Derriere to Boost, Booth, the Jungle.
No matter what you call it, if you have hemorrhoids, your tushy is no laughing matter. So don't use a cream that treats your rear end like a joke. Get serious relief with Recticare Advanced Hemorrhoid Cream. Recticare Advanced is seriously effective with 2 connections with rapid dual-action relief, soothing the uncomfortable swelling, itching, and pain of your hemorrhoids. For serious hemorrhoid relief for your Recticare Advanced.
Yes. That's gonna be my last trip of the United States.
Donate the Stackable Savings Sale soon.
More wow for less.
What do you mean what? What do you mean what? I'm gonna get the more professional. And listen.
Standing in this court, back up, because you don't know what to do about it. I'm what to do about it. I'm Green Dot. I'm bleach free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed. Green Dot. Let the dog again.
Whether it's care before or after school, or a set up a date night, you don't have to hire this anyone. You can find a background checked kit that runs the right fit for you. Join now for 20% off care.com.
Except one thing, we just can't stop being American. So get out there, take your swing. Love your legends like Freedom Rain, and never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
Right now, well-qualified current Chevrolet, GMC, and most Ford pickup owners or lessees can lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4 for $419 a month. See your Tri-State Ram dealer today.
Eczema isn't the same for everyone, but with Atlas, people with moderate to severe eczema can have real results, like skin that's still more clear at 1 year. Don't use if you're allergic to Atlas. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Atlas. Before starting Atlas, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. Ask your doctor about what's with your Atlas.
The scandal around Joe Biden's use of the auto pen is growing worse by the day. In an interview with the New York Times, it was published this morning, Biden actually admitted that he did not approve each individual pardon. The former president claimed he, quote, made every decision about clemencies, but later admitted that he had his staff replicate his signature because he said, quote, we're talking about a lot of people, and even more alarming. How hard is it to sign? I mean, come on. More alarming, according to the New York Times, Biden discussed pardons with his advisors on January the 19th, his last night in office, and after messages circulated among his advisors summarizing the meeting, Biden's then chief of staff, Jeff Zients, sent an email reading, quote, I approve the use of the auto pen for the execution of all the following pardons. Now, the New York Times report also says that Biden put parameters for clemency, but not specific cases. That is not the same as deciding who you pardon or who you give clemency to. Were they actually admitting here that he didn't make the ultimate decision? And then if so, that would raise the possibility they may not be valid. Also tonight, according to a bombshell report from JustTheNews.com, the FBI now seeking answers to years of weaponization of the federal government, opening the door for a special prosecutor to look into everything, starting with the Russia collusion hoax, all the way through Jack Smith, and what impact it may have had on the elections intervening. That would be 16, 20, and 24. Here with more, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, JustTheNews.com founder, editor-in-chief, investigative reporter John Solomon. James Comer, start with you. You read the New York Times piece. What I read is that Joe Biden put parameters in place but didn't make the ultimate decision on every single person involved in this. Would that render those clemencies, those pardons, unlawful?
I think so. I think it would be a hard pitch in front of a court of law to try to defend what Joe Biden just admitted to the New York Times, that he didn't know exactly who all was getting pardoned or not. He didn't know who was being pardoned with the use of his auto pen, and that's the whole basis of this investigation. This is just the pardons. What about the executive order? I mean, there was no process that we have found thus far, and we've brought in 4 people thus far in our interviews and depositions. No defined process by which Joe Biden was the one saying, yes, use this auto pen to sign my name on this pardon or this executive order. Sean, we're just talking about signing your name, one signature. So it doesn't even take into account whether or not he was mentally able to understand what he was even signing. So this is bad, and I think this puts all of those pardons in peril for the Biden administration.
Let me get your story, John Solomon, and you wrote a very long, comprehensive investigative piece how the FBI opened a case several weeks ago under the new FBI director, Kash Patel, and that this would be a grand conspiracy case on the issue of weaponization as a topic we have discussed at length on this program. You literally spent 3 years on this show. You were part of our ensemble cast, Greg Jarrett, Sarah Carter. I'm going to miss the names of too many people, so I won't continue. Unpeeling every layer of the onion to get to the truth when the rest of the media got it wrong and then ended up getting Pulitzer Prizes. We were proven right. We've been vindicated again and again. We were right about FISA abuse. We were right about the double standard in terms of top secret classified information. But what I'm reading in your piece tells me that starting with Russia...
Stop eating your food!
All the way through Jack Smith, we're talking about every incident of weaponization.
This is yours.
Donald Trump and how it could
this is yours.
broader, grander conspiracy theory, a conspiracy that actually took place and law-breaking involved in it. And that also the statute of limitations would not be applicable in this case as a result. And this would include names like Comey and Clapper and Brennan. Take it from there.
Yeah, and Barack Obama too, because he was in on these early meetings. So what the FBI has done is treated the last decade of weaponization, all the great work that James Comer has turned out through his oversight committee, and put it into a timetable and said, this looks like an ongoing conspiracy, a wash, rinse, and repeat cycle of Democrat gets in legal trouble. Hillary Clinton in her email case, Hunter Biden with his taxes, Joe Biden with his classified documents. They're let off the hook even when there's extraordinary evidence suggesting they shouldn't be left up there. And then a parallel track occurs where the Republican, in this case Donald Trump, is investigated falsely for things like Russia collusion, Ukrainian interference, his own documents at his home in Mar-a-Lago. This is a criminal conspiracy. By treating it as a conspiracy, you eliminate the 5-year statutes on individual crimes. If something happened in 2016, but it was part of an ongoing conspiracy that continued with Jack Smith raiding Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago, it can be charged in a larger conspiracy, even though if you tried to charge it in an individual case, you wouldn't get it. Furthermore, you could also change the venue. Remember the troubles John Durham had bringing prosecutions in Washington, D.C.? Jurors wouldn't convict, even if they thought there was criminality going on. In this case, you could pick a place like Florida, where Jack Smith did the raid on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago house, and say that's where we're putting the grand jury. You get a more fair jury poll, a more fair grand jury poll. It gives Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, an enormous amount of flexibility to do something historic. Finally bring some accountability for all the things that Chairman Comer, Chairman Johnson, Chairman Grassley, Chairman Jordan have brought and proved to the American people.
Yeah, okay. Bring us a little deeper into this and more specifically tell us what this might entail. Who might be appointed special counsel? How long this investigation is likely to take? And how involved will it be in terms of exposing something that, we have talked at length on this program about, maybe more than any other show, and that is how the deep state has used these 3 letter agencies have been using their power, abusing their power. I don't care if it's the 51 intel agents that knew nothing about Hunter's laptop. I don't care if it's Russia. I don't care if it's a false valuation of Mar-a-Lago. I don't care if it's a double standard when it comes to top secret classified documents, how Trump was treated versus Biden versus Hillary Clinton. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. There is. There's a couple things. First, because of the great work of Chairman Comer, Chairman Jordan, Chairman Johnson, Chairman Grassley, most of the evidence is already available for the Justice Department. You're not